Good evening. For those of you who are visiting our parish here at South Pasadena, we welcome you. And we're entering the Holy Week, the celebration of our faith. I don't know about you. I've studied this scripture I've been ordained for almost 10 years, and in the seminary studied it for 5 years. Every Holy Week, when we read or hear this gospel story, there's something happens inside me. There's something not comfortable. I become quiet inside. Because I think what struck me with this particular gospel is not just the death of Christ, but the grief that the people around Jesus experienced during this time. Imagine this. The people and the surrounding of Christ, this passion of Christ, like a storm, violent. I can hear everything on everybody yelling, but yet Christ is subdued and quiet. Why is that? Grief does it to us. We become silent when we experience losses and separation, disappointments, frustrations. And I'm going to suggest and invite you. You heard the gospel or the passion of Christ. Can you pick one character that you can relate to? Are you Mary Magdalene? Or are you the disciples who were sleeping when Jesus was praying? Or can you be the Mother of God? You know what I learned about this passion of Christ and also with our Christian faith? We accompany each other through this journey. I asked you 5 weeks ago at the beginning of Lent, can you accompany Christ this Lent? We are used to Christ accompanying us in our lives, but as a human person, a human being, can I accompany Christ this week for His passion so that this passion is meaningful and also will help other people who are suffering? Whatever your frustrations in life, whatever your anger, sadness, loneliness, or even separation and death, let it sit with you this week with the grace of God to carry you through this and offer it to God this week. We have so many opportunities this week to come here at our church, a place of worship. I invite you to be quiet. I know it's hard for me to be quiet. Marlon cannot just be quiet even for a minute. But this week, what I can say is be mindful of what you do and what you say and what you feel, and connect it to God, who is our image and likeness. If you follow the basketball, the March Madness, we have the new American sweetheart. Do you know who that person is? Sister Jean from Chicago. Finally, last night, Loyola of Chicago in the Final Four. I'm not saying because I came from Chicago, but hey, why not? Why not celebrate? I learned this in watching her. The players said to her, "You are our lucky charm." But you know what? It is. But more so, Sister Jean, the 98-year-old nun sitting in a wheelchair, accompanying the players outside and inside the court. It's the same thing I asked you this question, can you accompany Christ? If Sister Jean can do it, we can too here at South Pasadena. Who are you going to accompany this year or this Lent? Or can you accompany yourself to the cross of Christ? In the story, remember in the gospel story when the disciples were on the boat and the storm came and Jesus said to the storm, "Be quiet." And I think for all of us, we can learn a lot from that. We can be quiet so we can hear God's voice. And one story I'm going to leave you. Last week, we were in Anaheim for the religious congress where a lot of Catholics, Disneyland for Catholics last week. And you know, there's a ministry there that it's good, but the ministry that's not spoken a lot. It's the ministry of the Holy Family Boys or Boy Scouts who accompany those people who cannot walk. The mobility team. I see them every day for 3 days, pushing and pushing men and women. Some were angry. Can you go faster? Can you go this and this and that? But you know what I learned and I watched? The boys were just quietly saying, I can do this and I can push you. Accompaniment to their needs and to their lives. For us today, I'm going to also invite you, if you have friends and families who you think needs a little encouragement, Catholics or non-Catholics, invite them to our celebration and let this celebration speak to you, not just by words, but your sight, our smell, and our being. Because in a way, we are connected with one God, which is Christ. Let Christ be born, let Christ be resurrected in our hearts. Not just this week, but every day. So, happy Holy Week. God bless us all.